Yo, 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 yo. Good morning, man. Welcome in. It's another edition of Cash It with Chris. It's your boy Chris. The show is presented by the Basketball Forever Podcast Network. Of course, as always, check those guys out on all of their streaming platforms. It's a bunch of guys and a bunch of different shows and a bunch of different topics being covered. It's all basketball related. I've just so happened to be doing the gambling basketball one. So definitely check out the Basketball Forever Podcast Network, the crew of guys. Follow them on social media platforms as well. Man, we got a lot to talk about. We had a 13 game slate yesterday, and we got a 4 game slate today. I think it's 4 games, right? I want to say it's 4 games, 5 games. I think it's 4 games, 4 games today. Let's go with four. Yeah, 4 games today. So I always like to start the show off with, just a recap of what's been happening recently. And yesterday, again, not the greatest day. I feel like, we make the right plays. I'm on the right side every single time. The NBA has just been extremely weird this start the season, which is why I've been, kind of scaling back on units, not going too heavy. I gave out a couple player props that I liked yesterday on the evening show, the NBA Crispy Captain show. And I said I wasn't gonna play those for a unit. I was gonna play them for 0.75, three-fourths of a unit. And I'm glad I did because I went 1 and 2 on those. And then we had a spread that we liked, and we had an under that we liked, and we went 1 and 1 on those. So SGA did cash for us over 27 and a half. That game ended up going to overtime. Pretty easy cash, even though he did, wasn't scoring as much as I liked him to throughout the game, and picked it up in the fourth quarter. On the other side, Jamal Murray, he finishes with 18 on the hook. So we need 1 point. Even at the end of the game, they had a chance to throw the ball into him to get fouled. They did end up squeaking out the win against the Pacers yesterday, but they threw the ball into Jokic instead. We finish on the hook. It's just it's small things like that change your day from going 3 and 2 and being positive to 2 and 3 and being negative. And then we had Toronto, first half minus the 5.5. Love the spot for Toronto. Toronto comes out and absolutely gets blasted in the first quarter. Um, we saw the Houston Rockets look like they were playing against a G League team. And Toronto in the second quarter picked it up, end up crushing the second quarter. I think, let's see, they won the second quarter 28-17. So 11-point swing. But we needed a 14-point swing. So we lose that one as well. And they shot, they had to miss 15 3 pointers, it felt like, in the second quarter, where they had a chance to cover that as well. Didn't cover the full game either. So, even Houston on the second, consecutive night after covering the first game, covered the second game as well. So, just unfortunate bounces, man. I promise you that it's going to get a lot better. I can promise you that. You just got to stay the course. You got to make sure you're playing the right unit size. You're not overexerting your bankroll. Because once we pick up some steam, we're gonna get rocking, man. I can't remember a time last year where I went 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and just 2 and 4 so many times instead of going 4 and 1 or 3 and 1 or 2 and 0. It's just it's really really I'm on the right side of these things, but just on the wrong side of these things, but it's definitely the right play. And then Portis, we talked about Bobby Portis yesterday. Ended up going official with his points, rebounds, and assists. It wasn't the Bobby Portis show; it was everybody else. We saw Beauchamp, I think is how you pronounce his name, step up in the in the fourth, well, throughout the whole game without Drew Holiday being there. Dude's a baller. Same with Javon Carter. Those were the guys who stepped up. They inflated Bobby Porter's numbers, and I took the bait. I fell for that one. Probably, I still like that play though, especially against the OKC team. And then last but not least, the Lakers and Clippers under. Love that spot as well. And we know the Lakers don't score a lot of points. The Clippers, they don't score a lot of points either. So love that under 219 and that one cash. That was a unit play. So overall, 2 and 3 day, minus 0.97 units, so almost 1 unit down. But that's why I'm not playing a lot of units. You guys will see that as the season progresses, once we start, getting enough information and following, some trends that we really, really like, and we get more data and we're not data deficient, you'll see that we'll start to pick it up and my unit size will start to go up, right? It'll be a lot more 2 unit plays and 1.5 unit plays versus quarter unit plays and half unit plays, if that makes sense at all. What are you guys talking about in the chat, man? What up, Mitch? Appreciate you being here. Mooney Signs, appreciate you as well. Langston Ross said, shout out to the dude in the spaces who called KD triple double for plus 3,000. Ooh, yeah, that was a good one. I was actually looking at Ja triple double, but KD did have a triple double. And I think, one of the things I'm making notes of is, certain things have to be looked at every single night. And KD assists have to be looked at every single night. This dude absolutely been crushing his assist line without Kyrie in. He's the primary ball handler. We know KD's not, he's not a selfish guy. So he's gonna be looking to get his teammates involved every single time. So yeah, you're right, Langston. I'm glad you cashed on that triple double for KD plus 3,000 yesterday. Captain, what's good, bro? Good morning to you. Appreciate you being here. Zachariah said the injury report is sickening. Yeah, I mean it's really bad. It's really, really bad. And we got a lot of injury news on today's slate as well. But let's get into it, man. Portland plus 6.5. Mitch he on that. Mavs -3. Heat -10. You good, Chris? You'll find your money maker. Yeah, no, that's a fact, man. That's a fact. It's a long season, man. You can't give up. You can't give up. I'm not gonna come on here and or just stop doing shows because I'm not profitable every single day. Like I said, we'll find a groove and we'll get into it. It's frustrating. It's frustrating as hell, though. I will tell you guys that because I absolutely hate losing. I absolutely hate losing. I know it's people telling me, but it's not even that. I'm losing my money too, right? I'm not a capper that's out here giving out plays. It's not losing money on it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'll just leave it at that, bro. It's frustrating, man. It's frustrating to say the least. I'm a positive person. I try to bring positive energy to whatever community I'm in. Not just the gambling community, but every phase of my life I try to be positive in. So I'm gonna just keep pushing. Like I said, we'll get it back. I'm sure that. Let's talk about today though. DJ, good morning, my brother. Joshua said Halliburton points and assists and SGA points been consistent. Yeah, that's a fact. Them boys been hitting. It's talking to myself, commenting on Twitter, just showing love. I'm about to crash. Tough right now. We all got to pick it up. Yeah, that's a fact. What's up, Brian? Appreciate you being here. Ski is in the building early, still early. Marathon, not a sprint. That's a fact, Ski. Appreciate you being here. Next best too. Man, Ski probably ain't went to sleep yet. You tripping, Ski. I know you're on the West Coast, bro. Let's talk about today's games though, man. We got a couple games that I really want to talk about today. So first game up, let's go to DC, right up the street from me. Should go to this game. So we got the Dallas Mavericks coming off that embarrassing loss last night to the Orlando Magic. Not only did they not cover, and we know that away favorites now, they're 0-9-2 when they're laying 7 points or more on the road. So away favorites are not covering these big numbers, man. And like I said, not only did they not cover, they lost the game outright. So this line that actually opened at 3 last night. Shout out to my boy D because he sent it to me early. He said, "Yo, this the one right here, right?" I said, "Yeah, this the one." So, so I went ahead and played this one last night. I didn't get the 3 though. I still didn't get the 3. I was watching the rest of the games, trying to make some live bets last night in the Cavs game, in the Lakers game, which I didn't end up doing. But missed that 3 number. I got 3.5 though. I'm on the Mavs today. Minus the 3.5. Looking at this game, I was trying my best to be objective as possible and trying to take the, why would I take the Wizards in this spot? Of course, the Dallas Mavericks are at a rest disadvantage as well. So, what does that look like for the Wizards? Do you take the Mavs on the second night of a back-to-back? The Wizards, they just recently won. I'll tell you guys what I came up with, right? So first of all, there's always the narrative, Luka versus Porzingis, right? And the Wizards are also going to be without Bradley Beal in this one. We know that he's already ruled out, health and safety protocol. So hopefully they don't do any funny business and try to bring him back. Um, the Wizards are one of the most inconsistent teams in the NBA, though. So what I got for you guys? So first of all, looking at the Mavs off a ATS loss. So that was the first thing I looked at. The Mavs are 29-13 straight up, and 25, 15, and 2. That's a 60% cover rate. 25, 15, and 2 ATS, 62% cover rate following an ATS loss since the start of last season. They're winning those games by an average of 4 points. So if you could have got the 3 number last night, it makes you feel a little better. Also, this season, the Wizards, playing off a win, they're 0-3-1 off a previous win this season, losing by average of 15 points. So we talk about inconsistency. This was a reason why I wanted to fade, and I didn't get there yesterday. But we see these inconsistent teams, right? Like the Houston Rockets. They win, we expect them to lose. The same thing with the Knicks. And shout out to Ski, because I know we both were on this yesterday too. Not wanting to back the Nets at home because they don't play well as a home favorite, even though that might change now that they finally got a coach and they probably playing well for him, and the distractions without Kyrie. But you want to fade the New York Knicks after they score 130 points or after they get some kind of big win, right? And I didn't do it last night. But the Wizards remain that as well, right? The Wizards they're 0-3-1 off a previous win, and we've seen it, right? They lose to Philly last week, then they come back and they beat Philly in Philly, right? Then they proceed to get smacked up by Brooklyn. Then after the Brooklyn game, they beat Charlotte. So what do you want to do with the Wizards today? You want to fade them. They just won a game. They're 0-3-1 off a previous win this season, losing by an average of 15 points. Even if you go back to last year, so dating back to last season off a win, the Wizards are 11-27-1. That's a 29% cover rate. So 71% fade rate on taking fading the Wizards after a win. 11-27-1 after a win, ATS wise. That's ATS. So really love the Mavs today. Also, a couple other points. The Wizards are also 0-2 this season, straight up and ATS, when they have the rest advantage. So like the Wizards team is really hard to bet on because even if they have the rest advantage, that they don't play well in that spot. And it's weird, but some teams are like that. So far this season, it's a small sample size, but when they're the more rested team, and of course they didn't have a game yesterday, they're 0-2 this season, ATS and straight up, getting smacked up in those games too. Also, looking at the Wizards, they don't play the greatest at home. They're 1-4-1 ATS in their last 6 home games. Then you get the Mavs. They're 7-3 ATS in their last 10 games in Washington. So I do expect Luka to be fired up. If you watched the post game interview last night, which I did, he was frustrated. You could tell he was extremely frustrated last night. Luka was he was saying almost like the way I interpreted it was like, yo, we got to make shots. Like, I don't think he was putting it on his teammates, but it kind of came off like, yo, like we need other people to step up. Looking back at the box score, only him and Spencer Dinwiddie had good games. We know that they're gonna be without. I don't know if they're gonna be without him, but they were without Christian Wood yesterday. I think Christian Wood could potentially. I think he's listed as questionable for today, so we'll see how that one goes. But they're gonna have to get guys to step up, like Reggie Bullock and even Jalen Green. Some of these guys off the bench, Dorian Finney-Smith, DFS, and it's gonna be I think it could be a big game for DFS today. DFS, Dorian Finney-Smith is from the 757. If you guys didn't know, so I'm pretty sure he's gonna have a lot of family. He's from Portsmouth. He's gonna have a lot of family. It's right up the street. It's probably about a 3-hour drive, 2.5-hour drive. So I expect this to be a turn-up game for Dorian Finney-Smith. And I expect those guys to contribute. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy win, but I do expect the Wizards, the Mavs, to cover this one and win this game. I expect them to win this game outright, and I expect them to win by 4. So I did play the Mavs minus the 3.5. Extremely low total. We know the Wizards don't they don't score a lot. The Mavs are one of the better defensive teams in the league. So that's the first game. And we 15 minutes in already. What y'all thinking on that one, man? Rest in peace to the Lakers. Yeah, we ain't gonna talk about them guys. Sound like you getting better. Yeah, I'm getting a little better, JR. I've been, like I said, not sleep, because I did watch all the games late last night. Matt Stoney said went 10-0 on my Lakers and Clippers play. Okay, that's what's up, Matt Stoney. Nesbet said got to be a Mavs spot, but I like the Heat more. Hornets going to be clamped and gassed out back to back, third and four. Heat off 2 days rest at home. Hey, that's a fact, Nets. They not. I mean, it's so many. The manipulation of the injury report is what I always talk about. But Nesbet, you got a lot of points, bro. That's a lot of great points. Like you catch this Charlotte team, like you said, third game in 4 nights. Everything that you just said, back to back as well. With travel, because you got to travel to Miami. It sounds like a net spot. It definitely sounds like I'm sorry, not net spot. It sounds like a Heat spot for sure. So let's go to that game, man. Let's go to that game. I do think that it's important to, kind of wait. We got some injury news that we need to get some clarification on. For the Charlotte side, they still gonna be without the guys. Cody Martin is already ruled out. LaMelo's ruled out. Gordon Hayward's ruled out. I was reading some of the stuff from Coach Clifford, and he was saying that people are stopping him in the street every single day, asking, when LaMelo gonna play, man? When we gonna get Gordon Hayward back? And he said, these guys are working, they're working hard to try to get back on the floor. They're just not there yet. And that that could be true. Maybe they're just sitting them out because they want to get Victor Wembanyama. Like, it's a lot of things going on in the NBA, man. We got to keep our eyes on our head on a swivel and our ears to the Victor Wembanyama streets. But the Heat, they got a lot going on too, man. Tyler Herro's listed as questionable in this one. Martin also is listed as questionable. But Cody Martin is actually out. Caleb Martin for the Miami Heat is actually listed as questionable with a quadricep injury. Yurt-7, we know he hasn't played. Victor Oladipo as well. Both of these guys still remain out. So, you do want to have somebody, with the firepower like Tyler Herro, especially because these guys can be so, they can just be so cold. But, to Nets best, to your point, bro, like looking at the Charlotte team, they're 0-4-1 ATS in the last 5 meetings, so they just don't match up well. Now, do you want to hurry and lay 10 points with the Miami Heat? Probably not, right? And I think I'll be completely honest. One of the things I didn't look at was I didn't look at how the Nets do in the first half. I'm not always looking to touch these big spreads, right? Like these double-digit spreads. We saw Boston Celtics cover one last night, but we also saw Toronto not cover one last night, right? These double-digit spreads. So, I gotta I'll run a few queries and see how teams who are away dogs. Maybe I'll run that right now. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. So maybe like teams that are away dogs, and line is you know uh greater than or equal to -10, and rest equals 0. um okay, so I'm gonna actually show this to you guys. Let me see. Ooh. Let's see. Okay, so look at this real quick. You guys peep this real quick. So I'm gonna share my screen. And I'm gonna get up out of here. Hey, I didn't realize I was talking for 20 minutes. So so this query right here shows this season away dogs that are catching more than 10 points, and they have no days rest. And that'll be the Charlotte thing, the Charlotte side today. Charlotte won't have any rest, of course, and they're already catching 10 points. And you can see the game down here at the bottom. Well, you guys can't see it, but it's actually right here. Yeah, you can't see what my mouse is. It's actually below this one. So Hornets and the Heat come up on this. You see that these teams are still covering. These dogs are covering. Now we know the Charlotte team is, a lackluster team, especially without having their guys, but they're losing these games, as you guys can see, by 8 points on average. And ATS wise, they're 5-3, which is 62%. So another thing we could look at is just the Miami Heat in general. So what about the Heat when they're home favorites, and they're laying, let's just say they're laying 10 or more. and their opponent rest equals 0. And of course, we would need to take this back. Let's see how they did last year. They were 3-1 straight up, 2-2 ATS, winning those games by average of 6 points. So that doesn't, bode well for this trend either. But let's just say we did the last few years. So 2018 and above, this team is 5-2 straight up, 3-4 ATS. So not a good spot for the Heat laying 10. They have not covered in this role. You see 3 games from last year and a couple from the years before. So definitely, some more digging needs to be done. But they're not always doing the greatest. You see the first half right here. They're losing the first quarter, which I don't think that's gonna happen. And like I said, you gotta take into account, the Charlotte stuff too. But yeah, I wanted to show you guys that that is Give Me the Dog. That's Give Me the Dog. You guys also can check out Killer Sports, figure out how to run the queries. And DM me if you guys got questions on that. Shout out to my guy Ronald Kabang. Shout out to SoCal DJing. Shout out to all my guys, who put me on the SDQL to look into the trends more. So yeah, a game that I'm not rushing the bet, but I think Nets best makes some real good points in back in Miami if you guys were thinking that way. And let's get to it's 22 minutes. Let's talk about this last. We got 2 games, and I really wanted to get to this Sixers and Hawks game. It's gonna be an interesting game, man. Uh Divisional game, conference game. Um, we saw the Sixers look really good against Phoenix the other day. So interested to see if they can back up that success with success. Joel Embiid did say, he came out and said, that this is the first game of our season. The Phillies lost, now starts our season. Well, I don't know exactly what that means, but they're still without Harden. Trae Young looked a little gassed last night. We saw the reports from Nate McMillan saying that he had to rest him a little bit, and now Atlanta on the second night of a back-to-back, albeit it's at the crib, coming off a loss against the Utah Jazz, who, man, you do not want to get in front of the Jazz right now. Even traveling from West Coast to East Coast, 3rd game in 4 nights, 4th game in 6 nights, it doesn't matter. This team is crazy good. I'm so glad I set that one out because I didn't know, what side to be on. So glad I stayed away in that one. Um, I need to break this game down more if I'm being completely honest with you guys. So I have more for you guys on, a little bit later on that one, but I think the lean would be Atlanta. I think it's still an Atlanta spot, even though it's the second night of a back to back. We'll have to see who has the better bench. Atlanta's bench looked really good 2 games ago against the Milwaukee Bucks. AJ Griffin off the bench, Justin Holiday off the bench. These guys came out and performed. Then last night they laid an egg. Utah bench crushed their bench last night. Philly's bench looked really good last game against the Phoenix Suns. Gorgeous Niang killed it, right? These guys were hooping. So it's going to be interesting to see if that bench can play well. We know that Philly typically plays better on the road. Atlanta typically plays better at home. So it's going to be interesting for sure. And I'll break that one down a little bit more. Tune back in with me at 5:15 for the NBA Crispy Captain Show. We'll talk about that game. And then, of course, I do want to talk about the Blazers and Pelicans, but we got like 45 seconds. So um, not a lot I'm going to get out. But looking at this game, man, I do think that, I was going through looking at, the box scores last night. I wanted to take the Pelicans last night. I ended up playing the under as a personal play in that cash. And I talked about that one. But I talked about wanting to take the Pelicans. I thought it was the right side against the Chicago Bulls and a get right spot for them, and it was. Now they come back home. They get a Blazers team that was playing in Charlotte yesterday, so not a long travel from Charlotte to New Orleans. The Pelicans were in Chicago, and they're coming home, so not a long travel from them from Chicago to New Orleans as well. Uh, this is going to be an interesting game, man. I do think 6.5 might be just a tad bit too much. This Blazer team has looked, pretty good. And injury report as well, something you got to take into consideration because Jeremy Grant didn't play last night and Nurkic didn't play last night. But looking at CJ McCollum, I think is worth mentioning. This dude is facing his team from last year, the team that he played for so many years. We know what the brotherhood is like between him and Damian Lillard. Just looked like I think it was a look ahead spot for him last night. CJ McCollum shot 3 for 13, 0 for 5 from 3, and finished with 7 points. And he played 34 minutes. I think it could be a bounce back game. I think he might have been saving something for tonight in a look ahead spot. So nothing official that I played yet. I need to look more into it, of course. But I do think it was a massive look ahead spot for him, man. That's what I got for you guys today, man. I'm already over the time. Appreciate you guys for rocking with me. Hit the like button for me if you can over on YouTube. If you're on Twitter, retweet the show, man. Like the show. I appreciate that, you guys. CJ, the website is givemethedog.com. Figure out how to run the queries. But it's a lot of tutorials to help you guys. Mad Stoney said Jazz ATS is a printing press right now for me. Yeah, they killing, bro. Especially if they the dog. CJ said I'm staying away from Utah for the foreseeable future, at least until I see some regression. You got to. They asked Jordan Clarkson last night where they gonna go 79 and 3. Blazers, way too many points. Nurk gonna be back. Yeah, we gotta watch the injury report in that one. You in trouble if you trust in Trae Young and the Hawks. Oh Lord. Mitch said, nah, he ain't on it. Okay. Steve said, I don't completely trust Trae Young and the Hawks, so give me Philly in this spot. Yeah, I still think it could be a Philly spot, though. We'll see. I haven't laid the points. What I am official on is the Mavs minus the 3.5. I think that number probably goes up to 4.5 today. So if you want that, and you like the analysis, take that, you guys. But that's it for me, man. Appreciate you guys for being here as always. Like I said, hit the like button for me on your way out. Retweet the show, like the show on Twitter. Tap back in with me at 5:15 Eastern time for the NBA Crispy Capping Show. And, always end with this, man. This is not financial consultation. This is logic, theory, SDQL, as you guys can see, narrative, eye test, all that good stuff, man. Bet with your head, not over it. Best of luck to you guys today. I'm out.